Hello and welcome to Gifted Magazine. I am your host, AwesomeWill of the Gifted Ones podcast. I hope that all of you are feeling amazing today. I am feeling phenomenal. I am in such a pleasant mood myself. You know, what I wanted to talk to you about today, I'm not going to be very long with you, but what I wanted to talk to you about today is an incident that occurred September 5th, 2023, and the exact location was New York City Station at West 116th Street and Lenox Avenue at around 3:30 a.m. on Friday. The New York police told, the New York Post. Okay, this story is involving a 60-year-old elderly woman that was beaten, more than 50 times with her own cane. And the guy, also decided once she was able to retrieve, or she was able to, remove the cane from his hands, or snatch the cane from his hands, he then proceeded to brutalize her or assault her, with his fists. It's so unfortunate that things like this happen to the elderly. I feel that the elderly should be protected at all costs, and I want to just go ahead and get into the story very briefly. Like I said, I'm not going to be here before you very long. It states, violence erupted in the depths of a subway station after a vile man got into a vicious tussle with a 60-year-old woman, beating the vulnerable elderly woman 50 times with her own cane. Video shot by Metro Transit Authority, MTA, employee from inside the ticket vestibule displays a man taking a woman's cane, which she had been using to defend herself from the man's whipping belt. He used extreme force, dragging her while standing across the station before yanking it away from her. She then tumbles to the ground and the onslaught begins as she screams. Video shows man hoist her cane and assaults her with it, first in the feet, then all over her body, for more than 1 minute. At one point, the cane splinters and the man resumes hitting the elderly woman with a fragmented piece, eventually snatching it from the enormous suspect's hands. He then decided that he'd well her with his fists. The woman then falls onto a pile of trash on which she stumbled upon, curling in a fetal position, and the man starts screaming at her, "I was trying to be a brother to you." He then begins kicking the woman, using his belt afterwards, striking her with it also. Soon thereafter, the woman was unconscious, laying there with no movement as he continued to strike her. When he stopped at last, the woman rolled over, removing her trousers as the man's pants were falling during the incident. So, what are your thoughts about this? What are your thoughts about this? We live in such a cruel society, and I don't feel that this should have happened to this lady. She was vulnerable, and for her to be out and about at 3 a.m., she needs that kind of protection. She's a vulnerable elderly woman, especially to, society, us living in such a vicious and such a cruel society, and for her to be out alone during that time of morning. Maybe there was a doctor's appointment that she had to tend to, or she had to go to, and that was her only source of transportation. And if she's on a fixed income, chances are she didn't have that kind of money to get a Uber or a Lyft or anything like that. She probably travels or uses this form of transportation all the time, and probably has been doing so for quite a while, and it's never been a problem. But you have vicious people that will attack the elderly, out in the streets, especially, in the inner city, where there's a lot of crime and criminal behavior and activity, going on. And she probably doesn't have anyone, or maybe she has a bad relationship with her children, or, most of her family has probably passed away. And, it's unfortunate. She probably doesn't have a caretaker or anyone to take care of her. So she's pretty much on her own. Whatever the reason being for that happening in her life, or for whatever reason, it's still just sad. And it was crucial, for a man to, take advantage of her in the way that he did. And he should suffer the consequences for his behavior, for what he did or what he has done. Maybe he's mentally disturbed. I don't know. Maybe he's on some kind of psychotropical drugs, and he's mentally unstable or unstable. I don't know. But however, the case in the matter is, you shouldn't, you know, uh, be violent towards not only the elderly, but, towards anyone for that matter. And the guy, like I said, he was probably totally out of his mind. Or, sometimes, people, they experience so much trauma in their lives. And there comes a moment and a time that most people, they can't sustain or endure, that kind of, treatment or that kind of trauma. They just don't have that mental magnitude, to withstand the obstacles that they might have faced for multiple years. And there then comes a turning point in which this individual snaps, or they have a history of, instability, mentally for several years. And maybe he needs some kind of treatment, or, maybe he needs some kind of treatment, some kind of treatment program or whatever, being a solution, to better his behavior and his thought process as an individual. But however, like I said, this woman shouldn't have been assaulted, by any means. She shouldn't have been taken advantage of. I'm sure that she was scared out of her mind, to the point that she began to, remove her clothing, because after she was awakened, from her unconsciousness, once she gained consciousness again, because she was unconscious, she noticed that the man's pants, was coming down, and, she probably didn't realize that his pants were falling down during the incident. So her automatic thought was to remove her clothing, because she thought that she was possibly going to be RAPED'd during this incident, and she was helpless at this point. So I feel that he should definitely be dealt with to the fullest extent of the law, and hopefully he can, find some kind of help, or find some kind of serenity, or find some kind of peace within by, different programs that, that state in particular provides to the general public, to those in need of it. So this is AwesomeWill. This is also Gifted Magazine. I am the host of the Gifted Ones podcast. Later on tonight at 9 o'clock EST, or 9 o'clock p.m. EST, I will be going live on the podcast. I'm going to be leaving, more, information in the description box. And be sure to join us there. I'd definitely like to have you over there. And until next time, guys, we will, as I always say, we will do great things together. And I truly mean that. Utilize those links in the description box. If you would like to make a contribution, please do so. If you have any content that you would like to submit, please do that also. Until next time, guys, look forward to hearing from you, and look forward to doing this again. Peace.